What if she made mistakes, big ones? Welcome to Renesmee, and today's fanfiction audiobook. What if Renesmee had to marry to become Santa Claus? Stay till the end, because this story changes everything. Bella's paw. I signed as I looked at the picture of her. The first and the only picture that I have of my daughter. My baby girl was only an hour old in this picture. She was the most beautiful baby girl that I had ever seen. But now she wasn't my daughter anymore. Well, of course she was biologically my daughter, but Edward and I had given her up for adoption 17 years ago. We had given her up for adoption because we wanted to give her a normal human life. She was human and she deserved to have a normal human life. If she had stayed with us, she would not have had a normal childhood. How could she have a normal childhood in a house full of vampires? It was impossible. But that didn't stop my heart from aching every time that I thought about her. She was my baby girl and I loved her. I didn't even know anything about her except her name, because I have her that name. Bella, are you okay? I heard my husband ache. It's her 17th birthday, Edward the First cried. It's okay, honey. Just remember that she is happy somewhere and she is living a normal human life, he said. All I could see in my head was my bronze-haired, brown-eyed baby girl. Hopefully we'll see her again one day, Edward sighed. Yeah, you're right, I said. Come on, honey. Let's go out for a while. Maybe that'll help you feel less sad, he said. Yeah, maybe, I agreed. The only thing that would really make me feel less sad is that I saw my baby girl again. But were the chances that I'd see my girl here in Chicago? Not very likely, considering the fact that she was adopted in Forks. We've moved around a lot these past several years. Jacob Black always came with us. He was hoping to find his imprint wherever it was that we moved. When we were walking, we came across Charlie Calvin. Charlie was a well-respected child psychologist here, apparently taking after his stepfather. But what no one knew is that he was crazy himself. According to Edward, he has this delusional idea that his biological father is Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Huh. Yeah, he was definitely crazy. Definitely crazy. Nessie's paw. I woke up slowly. It was a few minutes before my room completely came into focus. It was with a sudden realization that I remembered what today's date was. It was September 13th, my 17th birthday. I couldn't believe that I was another year older. In my 17 years of life, I have had the most unusual life that anyone has ever had in their lives. Well, there may be a few exceptions. It all started 17 years ago. My biological family gave me up for adoption. My parents, Scott and Carol, also known as Mr. and Mrs. Claus, adopted me from Forks, Washington. That's right, my dad is Santa Claus. I've grown up here at the North Pole with my parents, my brother Buddy Claus, and the rest of the elves. I heard someone knock on my door. Who is it? I asked. Your brother, Buddy said. Are you awake yet? No, I'm asleep and I'm just sleep talking to you, I said in the most sarcastic way that I could. Well, Dee wants to talk to us, he said, completely ignoring my sarcasm. Okay, I'll be down in a minute, I said. I got up and quickly got dressed. I went downstairs where my brother was waiting. Then we walked Ether outside and into the workshop where my dad's office was. I watched as all the elves made toys and gadgets for all the good children of the world. It didn't matter that Christmas was 3.5 months away. The elves were hard at work. My father looked up as we entered his office. Good morning, Dad, I said as I went and hugged him. Good morning, sweetie, and happy birthday, he said. Buddy saw that you wanted to talk to us about something, I said. Yes. As you both very well know, I've been Santa Claus for a while, he began. Yes, my brother said, and I'm ready to retire now. This means I have to pass on the responsibilities of Santa Claus to one of you. What? I asked in shock. I thought for sure that Buddy would get the job, considering that he was my father's biological son. I'm going to pass on the job to one of you. However, I don't know which one of you to pass it on to. So I was thinking and I came up with an idea. In order to continue being Santa, I had to marry your mother. So, I've decided that whichever one of you gets married first, and by this coming Christmas Eve, will take over as the new Santa, he explained. Wait, Dad, so you're saying that if I marry before Buddy does, and I marry before Christmas Eve, you'll pass on the job to me? I asked. Yes. Tomorrow morning I will send you Nessie to Chicago where Charlie and Lucy live. You, Buddy, will go to New York where Laura and Dr. Neil live, he said. Dad, are you sure about this? Buddy asked. I mean, do you really want to retire? Yes, I'm sure about this, and I've already talked to your mother about this, Dad said. Okay, my brother and I said at the same time. I also made these watches for you too. He gave us these really big watches. It measures how much magic you have left. However, if it gets to 0, you won't be able to get back to the pole, he said. Then we won't let them get to 0, I said. Okay, well, we should get you two prepared now, Dad said. I'm taking Comet, I said before my brother could. Comet and I were best, have always been. Plus he loves Charlie and Lucy. Fine, my brother said. I'll take Chet, Nessie's paw. I still couldn't quite believe that I had a shot of taking over as the next Santa. It had always been a dream of mine to become the next Santa Claus. There was nothing that I loved more than giving and helping others. But I never thought that I'd actually have the chance to take over my father's job for 2 reasons. Number 1, my brother was my father's biological son, and number 2, only men have ever filmed the shoes of Santa. I went back to my room and started to get ready and pack some of the things that I would need. I was also excited that I would be going on this trip. It wasn't very often that I got to leave the North Pole, which made this trip all the more exciting. Most of my birthday was spent getting ready for the trip, but I didn't mind in the least. In all honesty, this was the best present I had ever received. I went to bed that night feeling more excited than I had in a long time. It felt like only minutes after I had fallen asleep that I was waking up again. When I went to the stables to get Comet, he started to put up a fuss. You see, much like my father, I can understand what the reindeer are saying. It's all part of the Christmas magic. Everybody else just hears a bunch of reindeer noises. But I do. I have to go. Why don't you take Prancer instead? He asked as I led him out of the stables. Because I don't want to take Prancer. You're my best buddy. I want to take a trip with you. Besides, last night Prancer ate way too many apples at dinner, and we both know what that means. He sighed. Besides, did I forget to mention that we are going to go see Charlie and Lucy? That did it. Just mentioning Charlie and Lucy always made him happy. He loved those two as much as he loved me. I went to the takeoff area where my brother was already. It wasn't long before my mother and father appeared. Now you be careful, you two, Mom said. Take care of yourselves. My mother looked like she was about to cry. I went over to her and gave her a hug and kiss. We'll been fine, Mom. I promise, I said. Yeah, Mom, we'll be okay, Buddy said. Aren't you kids going to give your old man a hug? My dad was pretending to be offended. I'll miss you, Dad, I said as I gave him a hug. Me too, Buddy said. And your mother and I will miss you both, Dad said. Oh, and don't forget what we told you. Don't let our magic get to 0. Oh, and we can't reveal who we are, I said. Good. Now you two better get going, I said. I got on Comet and made myself comfortable. Okay, Comet, let's go, I said. I held onto the reins tightly as Comet took off. I pulled on the reins and steered him toward the hole. I looked back and saw my brother behind me. I loved flying. I really did. It was quite often that I took rides on reindeer, and many times my father takes me for a ride in his sleigh on Christmas Eve. I think the hardest part about flying is choosing the altitude to fly at. You don't want to run into airplanes, you don't want to be seen from the ground earlier. Once I was sure I was getting close to Chicago, I began to descend through the clouds. The city lights contrasted against the night sky beautifully. I saw a forest just outside of the city that was the perfect place to land. Okay, Comet, we're going to land in the woods over there, I said. Okay. As soon as we landed, I jumped off of him. Comet, you're going to have to stay here for now, I said. What? Why? Because it would be a little suspicious to walk into town with a reindeer. Don't you think? Don't worry, Charlie and Lucy will come see you. A lot, I might add. I'll be around a lot too. Okay, I knew he wasn't happy with the arrangement, but he agreed to it anyway. I would come visit him all the time. I wasn't worried about anything happening to him either. Santa's reindeer are magical and therefore can evade any predators no matter how fast or strong they are. I gave him a kiss on the snout and began my walk through the woods. I was surprised when I came across a large and clear house. It was so light and open. I had never seen anything like it before. Hello there, a voice behind me said. I jumped and then clutched my chest as it began to beat really fast. It was a young blonde man. He looked about 23 years old. He was also extremely pale and he had the oddest gold eyes. Are you okay, young lady? What are you doing here? He asked. I'm okay. I just got lost, I said. Did you happen to see a horse running around here? He asked. Oh crap. He must have heard when Comet was landing. When reindeer fly, their hooves make the same noise that a horse's does when running. No, I said. Why? My family and I thought we heard one. Anyway, maybe I can help you. I'm Carlisle Cullen. Who are you? I'm Renesmee Claw Calvin. I wanted to slap myself for almost slipping up. Number 1 rule is to never say that my last name is Claus. Well, Ms. Calvin, it's nice to meet you, he said. It's nice to meet you too, I said as I shook his hand. Whoa, was his hand freezing. I'm actually looking for my brother Charlie Calvin. Do you know where he lives by any chance? I asked. I think so. Does he have a sister named Lucy? Yes, I said. Then I know exactly where he lives. I can take you to him if you'd like, he offered. I can already see that he was a kind, good man. I liked him already. I would love that, I said with a smile. Nessie, would you like to come inside for a few minutes? Carlisle asked. Is this your house? I asked in awe, not really realizing how stupid I sounded by answering a question with another question. Yes, my wife, kids and I live here, he answered. Wow, I just had to ask the next question that was on my mind. I hope I'm not intruding, but if I may ask, why do you and your family live out here in the middle of the woods? I asked. We just like the privacy, he answered. It seemed like an honest enough reason, but why did I have the sneaking suspicion that there was something more going on here? Like he wasn't all that he seemed to be. If there is anything that my entire life has taught me is that not everything is as it appears to be. Myself included. Well, Renesmee, would you like to come in? It'll be just for a few minutes. I have to gather some things for work. I'm a doctor at a local hospital and my shift is about to start soon, he said. Sure, I said. I followed him inside where I saw 7 more people exactly like him. When I say, exactly like him, I mean the pale skin and gold eyes. Very odd traits, really. All 7 of them were staring at me. It was making me a little uncomfortable. This is Renesmee. I found her in the woods. Renesmee, this is my wife Esme and our kids Bella, Alice, Rosalie, Jasper, Emmett, and Edward. He pointed everyone out as he introduced us. Your name is Renesmee? The girl called Bella asked. Yes, Renesmee Calvin. I just came here from Canada. I'm moving in with my brother Charlie for the next few months, I explained. The story was that my father is a toy maker in Canada. So you're from Canada? Edward asked. Yes. Well, I was actually born in Forks, Washington, where my biological parents gave me up for adoption. After that I moved to Canada with my parents. Honey, how old are you? Esme asked. 17 years old yesterday, I said. For some reason Bella looked like she was about to faint. Edward held her upright as he looked at me wide-eyed. It was so quiet that you could have heard a pen drop. What is going on here? Another huskier voice asked. I at the staircase where I saw a really big half-naked guy. My heart actually skipped several beats. Wow, he was beautiful. He had to be over 6 feet tall, and those muscles. Those muscles. As soon as our eyes met, something happened. I felt a strange connection to him that I really couldn't understand. He stared at me as if he had never seen another girl before. He walked over to me and kneeled right in front of me, never once breaking eye contact. What's your name? He asked me. Renesmee C.L. Calvin. In my current stupor I had almost slipped up again. I had To get away from these people before I actually did slip up. What's your name? Jacob Black, he answered. Jacob Black. What would Jacob Claus sound like? I had to bite my tongue to prevent myself from testing it out. Renesmee, we should probably go now, Carlyle said. Okay. And call me by nickname. Which is Nessie, I said. Well, Nessie, your family is probably looking for you, Carlyle said. Bye, Jacob, I said. Bye, Nessie, he said back. As I was walking out the door, I looked back once more at the man I hoped would be the future Mr. Claus. Carlyle took me home after that. I think Charlie was really surprised to see Carlyle there. After Carlyle left, Charlie hugged me. Nessie, what were you doing with Carlyle? Well, we kind of found each other in the woods. He offered to help me, I said. Nessie, Dawn. You know not to be so trusting of people you don't know. Well, yes, but nothing, Charlie said. You shouldn't be so trusting. Especially with the Cullens. They're kind of weird. And I'm not, I said with a raised eyebrows. That's beside the point. Anyways, Lucy will be home from school soon. Lucy was currently living with Charlie as she went to college to pursue her master's degree in English. And speaking of school, I signed you up. On Monday you'll be starting your senior year, he said. That made me even more excited. I had never been to an actual school with other humans before. Bella's Pav. I had a hard time understanding exactly what just happened. Had I really just found my daughter after so many years? If vampires could faint or have heart attacks, I was sure that both of them would have happened to me. Was that really Renesmee? Edward asked in shock. Our daughter. I don't know, I answered. What was she thinking, Edward? I asked. I don't know. Her mind is shielded just like yours. She is your daughter? Jacob asked. I think she is our Renesmee, Carlyle said. Except something about her is different. I mean, besides the fact that she grew up. Did anyone else notice how odd her scent was? Yes, we all answered at once. There was something very strange about her scent. It was something that none of us had ever smelled before. Yes, it's certain odd. I'm curious about it and I want to figure out what it is, Carlyle said. Did you find whatever horse was running through the woods earlier? Esme asked. No, Carlyle said. Instead, I found Nessie. We continued to talk and think about what we were going to do for the rest of the night. By morning I really needed to get away and think, plus I was feeling thirsty. So Edward and I went hunting. Do you smell that? Edward asked. That's strange. Yes, it's a deer, I said. What was so strange about that? It's a reindeer and it's only one. Kind of odd, don't you think? I don't know, but he is breakfast. I took off running in the direction of the scent. It led me to the largest and strongest reindeer that I had ever seen before. He was also wearing a halter like if he was a horse. I pounced on the reindeer and he shrieked in surprise. I tried to bite him, but for some weird reason my teeth would not puncture his skin. What the hell was going on here? He also had a tag that read, Comet. He threw me off. Then Edward pounced on him, but he met the same fate as me. The animal threw him off and ran away at lightning speed. What kind of animal is that? I said in shock. I don't know. But Carlyle is going to want to know about this. But now we won't stop hunting him until we catch him. We'll have to kill him. He might be dangerous, Edward sighed. Nessie's paw. Even though I had just gotten here, I was already having fun. As I said before, it wasn't very often that I got to leave the North Pole. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the North Pole and everything that has to do with Christmas, but it was nice to leave. For me, this was going to be like a 3-month-long vacation. A vacation which would end on December 23rd when I had to head back home. It didn't matter if I had won the competition and gotten married before my brother did, we both had to report back on that date. Meanwhile, I planned on soaking in every single bit of city life with other humans. Which is exactly what I started to do that very weekend that I was there. On Sunday night I began to get ready for school the next day. I was full of excitement. This was surely going to be an interesting, new, and exciting experience for me. So Charlie, how am I going to get to school tomorrow? I asked. Well, I am going to drive you, of course, he said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Can't I drive myself? I asked. No, he said. What? Why not? I asked. I was eager to drive myself around this place. Even if it was only to school. Number 1. You don't know how to drive. Number 2. You don't have a license. Number 3. You don't have a car. Actually, I do know how to drive. Dad taught me how to drive, I said. You still don't have a license or a car, he said. He was right about that. So I decided to tap into my magic to help me out. In less than a second I had whipped out a completely legit Illinois driver's license. Here is my license. I handed him my license and fought the urge to laugh at his dumbfounded expression. Oh, and my car is in the driveway. We both went outside and saw the latest model of a Mercedes-Benz out there. Nessie, what did you do? He asked. Magic, of course, I said. I looked at my watch and saw the hands move down a bit. I had to be careful and avoid reaching 0. Maybe using some of my magic on a car and license wasn't such a good idea. Nessie, you really should be careful with how you use your magic, Charlie said as if he could read my mind. Yeah, you're right, I said before we went back inside. Besides, a car like that will get a lot of attention. I swear that's even fancier than most of the Cullens' car, which is really saying something. I thought you didn't like the Cullens, I said. I never said that, I just said that they were weird. They don't mingle much with other people. There is something about them that just seems, I don't know off, he said. Honestly, that was the exact vibe I got from them when I first saw them when I arrived. It wasn't long after that I went to bed. I woke up the next morning to the sound of my alarm blaring in my ears. Many other kids my age may have been upset over the fact that it was now Monday morning and they had to go to school, but not me. As a matter of fact, I could not have been more happy and excited than I was right now. It was almost as if I were going on some sort of adventure or something, which might seem stupid because it is just school. But what can I say? It was exciting to me. I quickly jumped out of bed, fixed my bed, put on my clothes, put on my makeup and fixed my hair. Why are you in such a hurry? Lucy asked when I literally ran down the stairs. I know it's just school, kid, Charlie said. Well, to you it might just be school, but I've never been to another school with humans before. For me this is a new and exciting experience, I said. Point taken. But soon, you'll realize that school is really not all it's cracked up to be, Charlie said. Sure, I said. I wasn't sure that I really believed him. Don't say that I didn't warn you, Charlie said as I grabbed some toast and spread jelly all over it. I swallowed it in just a few bites. Then I grabbed my backpack and left as fast as I possibly could. I smiled again when I saw my new car. Even driving to school was an exciting experience for me. As soon as I got to school, I saw several of the other students staring at me in awe. I even saw the Cullen kids staring at me in shock. I got off the car and I immediately felt everyone's eyes on me. I really wished that they would stop staring at me and look at something else, anything else. The Cullens were the worst though. Was it just me or were they not even blinking? It was a little creepy and unnerving. I walked into the front office where I received my schedule and my locker number. As I was walking to my locker when I suddenly tripped on something. I had been too busy with my schedule in my face trying to memorize it that I had not realized someone stuck their leg out in front of me. I fell face first on the floor. Laughter erupted all around me. I looked up and saw a tall brown-haired girl. No doubt that she was the one that did this to me. There were also several other girls with her. Look, loser, we run this school. So you better stay out of my way, she said. They all laughed one more time before leaving. You okay there? Another girl asked me as she gave me her hand to help me up. Yeah, I'm fine. Who was that? I asked. That's Emma Henderson. She is the biggest bitch in this school. She bullies everyone. She has been that way for as long as I can remember. She really is just a stuck-up bitch, the girl explained. Anyways, I'm Lisa. What is your name? She asked me. Renesmee. But call me Nessie, I said. My name is a mouthful, so that's usually what people call me. Yeah, that is a mouthful, Nessie, she said. Anyways, you see that guy over there? The one that is walking towards us right now. Yes. Who is he? That's David. He has been my best friend since we were in preschool. You should meet him. Honestly, he is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, Lisa said. For some reason I got the feeling that she wished they were something else other than best friends. Hey Lisa, who is this? He asked once he noticed me. I'm Renesmee, or Nessie. As I prefer to be called, and I'm new here, I said. Really? Where are you from? He asked. Canada, I answered. It kind of felt really weird to lie about where I'm from. Lying goes against everything I've been taught. But in this case it's very important. Before we could talk more, the bell rang. Well Nessie, I hope that we have some classes together. If not, you can sit with us at lunch, Lisa said. Thanks guys, I said. Unfortunately I didn't have time to go to my locker anymore, so I headed straight toward my world history class. Right away I saw Edward and Bella in this class. As soon as I walked in, they stared right at me intensely. I also noticed that Emma was in this class as well. I couldn't help but wonder what made her a stuck-up bitch, as Lisa had put it. There had to be a reason for it. There usually was a reason people acted the way they did. I bet if I dug deep enough I could figure out why she acted out the way she did. My teacher chose that time to come into the classroom. And he had me get up in front of the class and introduce myself. I nearly tripped on the way back. I saw Emma snicker at my clumsiness. Edward and Bella glared at the girl. Okay class, my teacher said. I am going to assign you a history project that will be turned the week before you go on Christmas break. Automatically everyone moaned. Everyone relax. You'll be doing this in pairs so you can split up the work. I will assign each group a country work on. Now, I want you to choose all of your partners right now, he said. Everyone got up and immediately started to look for partners. It was pretty chaotic. When I looked at Emma and no one was choosing her, I felt sad for her. I guess it was because she was a bully that nobody wanted to work with her. Even she appeared to be sad when no one approached her, or when she approached someone they automatically moved away from her. I sighed. I really hoped that I would not regret this decision. I walked over to her. At first she looked surprised that I approached her, then she looked upset. What do you want? She said in a bitter, ungrateful kind of way. To be your partner, if that's okay with you. You're asking me, she said. It seems that way, I responded. Okay, fine, she said. Nessie's paw. My name is Renesmee, I said to her. I held out my hand for her to shake, but she completely ignored it. What the hell kind of name is that? She laughed in a cruel and mocking kind of way. I could already see that she was going to be a difficult girl to work with. It's my name and I'd prefer if you didn't laugh at it, I said as calmly as I could. Whatever, loser, she said. Anyways, if you'd prefer to call me Nessie, that's fine too. It's my nickname, I said. You really are a weird girl, she said. Weird girl, weirder name, and even weirder nickname. Anyways, your name is Emma, right? I asked. Yes, it is. Look, outside of this project I do not want to be seen speaking with you. Understand? She said. I sighed. Yes, this girl was definitely going to be a very difficult to work with. But I had hoped that maybe I could somehow help her change. Oftentimes when someone is the way that she is, it's because they themselves were bullied. They have had a difficult past that shaped the way they are. But my dad always taught me that there is good in everybody, sometimes it's just buried deep. Anyways, should we meet at your place or mine? I asked. Your place? Definitely, she said in a slightly panicky way. Okay, I said. I wondered why she panicked when I had asked her house she would rather work at. Are you okay? I asked her. She looked really nervous for some reason. After that she excused herself to the bathroom. While she was gone, our teacher had assigned us the countries that he wanted us to work on. We got the United States. When she came back 5 minutes later she looked significantly calmer. But when she happened to roll up one of her sleeves a little bit, I saw it. I saw several marks on her arm that looked like self-inflicted injuries. One of them looked really fresh. In fact, it was still bleeding. I was about 95% sure that she was a cutter. I was now more certain than ever that I had made the right choice to be her partner. There was definitely no to her than the facade that she put on. The bullying must be the way she masks her own pain. She was like an onion. I would just to have peeled back layer by layer to get to the real Emma. I wanted to help her. While I was here, I was determined to help her. I think her problem might just be that she has a lot of issues that have gone unnoticed by the people around her. She caught me looking and right away rolled down her sleeve. She then glared at me. I told her what country we had been assigned. I also gave her my contact information. I tried to pretend like I hadn't seen anything. Soon after that the bell rang and it was time for me to go to my next class. It seemed like I had at least one Cullen in each and every class. They all had an unusual interest in me for some reason. They all came up to me and tried to start up conversations with me several times before and after class. I know I'm the new kid and all, but why so much interest in me and my life? By the way, talking about my life was extremely difficult considering that everything I had to say was a lie. It was Bella and Edward that had the most interest in me out of all of them. Which I believe was really saying something. Soon it was lunch time. As I was getting my food I heard someone call out my name. I looked in the direction that the voice had come from and saw that it was Lisa. She was inviting me to come sit with her. I got my burger and went to sit by her. "So how is your first day going?" she asked. "Okay, I guess. I already have a project to do by the end of the semester," I said. "For history?" she asked. "Yup, I have the same project as well." "Who did you pick for a partner?" she asked. "Actually I picked Emma," I said. "Emma as in the same Emma that tripped you and laughed this morning?" she asked. "Yes, nobody else was picking her so I decided to be her partner," I said. "You're in for one hellish semester then." "Don't say I didn't warn you," she said. "So what about you?" I asked. "Actually I'm working with David. We have history the same period together," she explained. "Where is he?" "I thought that he'd be here with you since you're best friends with him," I said. "Over there with her." Her tone of voice sounded like a case of sour grapes. I looked to where she was pointing, and saw that he was with another girl. "That is his girlfriend. Her name is Brittany," she said. "You like him, don't you? And I mean as more than just your best friend." I asked. "Am I really that obvious?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "I wish he wasn't so clueless. I've had a huge crush on him since middle school and he still doesn't know. Yet, you've only known us less than a day and you can already see that," she said. "Maybe you should tell him how you feel," I suggested. "I don't know how to," she admitted. She quickly changed the subject after that and instead starting asking me all kinds of questions about myself. I, in turn, also asked her a lot of questions about herself. When the bell rang at the end of the day I was happy to be going home. When I saw Emma again she was with her friends and they proceeded to call me names like loser and freak and they all laughed. They kept on taunting me but I ignored them as I walked by. As I was walking to my car I noticed the Cullens watching my every move. I went home that afternoon and I could not stop thinking about Emma. Somehow I felt that she was just a seriously misunderstood girl that just lashed out at the world. I could not help but wonder what made her this way. What pushed her so far that she feels the need to hurt others just to make herself feel better? What drove her to pick up the dangerous habit of cutting herself? It was sad and it was heartbreaking. I woke up the next day and was happy that I'd be going to school again. I was happy that I'd have some friends to hang out with now. But, even more importantly, I would be seeing Emma again. I hoped that I would be able to begin to help her. As soon as I got to school I saw the Cullens there watching me again, but this time there was someone else with them, Jacob. I looked at him and could not help it when my eyes roamed over his entire body. When he noticed that I was staring at him I blushed scarlet red and my heart skipped several beats. Then he cracked a grin and I blushed even more. The heat flooded my face and I was sure that I was more red than a tomato right now. "Looks like somebody has a crush on Jacob Black," said someone behind me and effectively scared the crap out of me. Lisa, don't sneak up on me like that, I said once I saw who the culprit was. Sorry, she said. But don't change the subject. You like him, don't you? Yes, I said. Well, good luck with that. Seriously, don't waste your time. Jacob doesn't date, she said. Her voice a clear case of sour grapes. I wondered when she had been turned down. You've dated him before, I couldn't help but ask. No, but I wanted to. I mean, look at him, he's hot. I've seen him shirtless before. Believe me, he really is hot. But he doesn't seem to like any of the girls at this school. Oh well, I guess there goes my shot having him for a husband. The bell for our first class rang at that moment. I went and took the very same seat that I had yesterday. I felt my heart do a somersault when Jacob strolled into the classroom. It was with sudden realization that I realized there was only one empty seat left, which was right next to me. He didn't say anything when he sat down right next to me. Nor did I say anything to him. I swear his body was so hot, and I mean that in the most literal sense, that I could actually feel the heat rolling off of him since I was sitting so close to him. Our teacher then gave us our assignment for the day and we started working. I jumped when I felt a warm finger gently tapping me. I'm sorry, Nessie. I didn't mean to scare you, he said. It's okay. Don't worry about it, I said, even though my heart was still pounding in my ears. I wasn't entirely sure that was because of him scaring me though. It might just be his very presence, period. When I looked into his eyes I lost my train of thought. Can I borrow a pen? He asked me. I forgot mine. Yeah, sure, I said once I was able to find my voice again. He scribbled something on a piece of paper and then passed it over to me. Will you go out with me this Friday night? I nearly had a heart attack after I read that note. I quickly scribbled a yes on the back before passing it back to him. He smiled when he read my answer. You know you're really beautiful when you blush, he said. My heart started going at triple its normal speed again. There was something about this boy that just had an odd affect on me. Thanks, I said. I bet you are both beautiful and smart, he said. Well, thanks. I bet you are too, I said. Once we were finally free to really talk, he asked me a lot about my life as well. Honestly, I was getting a little annoyed with all of the questions about my life. Surely I was not the most interesting thing in the world, right? There had to be other things to talk about besides me. I could only imagine the questions I would get if they knew whose daughter I was. During the last 15 minutes of class we had to work with our partners. Apparently, he decided to give us some time in class to work on our project. Hi Emma, I said once I sat down right next to her. Hi was all she said in reply to me. So when should we meet to work together? I asked. I don't know, she said. But it has to be at your place. Never at mine. Understood. Yes, okay. Why do you keep on insisting on that? I asked. None of your damned business, freak, she said coldly before getting up and walking out even before the class ended. I hatched a plan after that. As soon as school was over I was going to follow her home. I had to know more about her and she wasn't going to give up that information freely. Are you okay, Nessie? Jacob asked when he approached me after class. Yeah, I'm fine, I said. Are you sure? I heard how she treated you, he said. I'm fine, Jacob, don't worry. I'm more worried about her. I think there is something wrong, I explained. The only thing that is wrong is the way she treated you and the way she treats people in general. She's cold-hearted and I don't think that you should work with someone like her. Jacob, stop, okay. I've already made my decision and I am going to work with her, I said. As soon as school ended I got into my car. Once I had located Emma I began to follow her. She was walking all by herself. I saw her stop and look back several times as if she were trying to make sure that there was nobody following her. She didn't seem to notice that I was following her. She walked about 20 more blocks when she suddenly turned right at a street. I continued to follow her. Then I saw her walk up the steps that lead to an orphanage. She was an orphan. Bella's Pav. I wanted to tell my daughter the truth. I wanted her to know that I was her real mother. But how was I going to tell her the truth? How was I going to explain to her that was her real mother? How was I going to explain the reasons that I gave her up for adoption? How was I going to tell her how much I have always loved her? I love my daughter and she has no idea that I even exist. My whole body was racked with sobs. It sucked that I couldn't cry and shed the tears that would have proved some relief from my misery. Bella. I looked up and saw my husband standing in our bedroom. He didn't say anything. He just walked over to me and hugged me. Funny, I always thought that if we ever saw our daughter again it would have lessened the pain. And it has, but not a lot. Now it was the old GE that we were complete strangers that killed us the most. I want her to know the truth about us. I want her to know that we are her real parents, I said. And she will, he said. What? I said. She will know the truth about us. We will get close to her. We'll get to know more about her and she'll get to know more about us. Are you sure about this? I asked. Of course I am sure. She is going back to Cana. In a few months and I promise you that by then she will know the truth about us, he said. What do the rest of the family think about this? I asked. I don't know. We'll ask them, he said. When we went downstairs everyone was already gathered and waiting for us. Apparently they had all overheard our conversation. Edward, I'm not entirely sure that this is a good idea, Carlyle said. Why not? I asked, in a tone of voice that was a little too defensive. Because how do you think that she will react when we tell her that we are her real family? Also, how will we explain our youthful appearance? She has to know everything. We have to tell her everything. She should know the whole truth about her heritage, I said. And how will we explain that to her without sounding completely insane? Carlyle asked. I sighed. I don't know. But we've got to do something. We have got to tell her the truth. She has to know that we are her real family. Okay. But I suggest that we all be really careful about this. Edward, have you been able to read her mind? No, it's a complete mystery to me. But I can tell that she is a good person without even having to read her mind, he said. I can tell that she has a good heart. That made me happy. At least she had found a family that raised her well. She is the first person that will talk to Emma and actually put up with her, Edward sighed. I bared my teeth and actually growled. I didn't like that human girl and the way she treated people, especially Nessie. I don't like her at all. She is so cruel to people for no reason at all, I said. Everyone else seemed to agree with what I said. There is a lot more to her than you know. She has a lot of secrets that have led her to behave the way that she does. What are those reasons? I asked. When she was little her mother died. Shish. He was left to be raised by her father, but he was cruel. He used to beat her up really badly. For years he beat her. He used to call her fat, ugly, useless, and stupid. Eventually, when she was 9 years old, somebody found out about what was happening. She was removed from her home and taken to an orphanage. She was never adopted. That's why she is a bully. That is why she cuts herself. She also has ISSUES with anorexia, and she has also thought about suicide a few times because of this. It's all to cover up the pain that she is really feeling. It's how she makes herself feel better. But really she longs to be loved and cared for like everyone else, Edward explained. I couldn't believe the poor girl had suffered and was still suffering so much. I wouldn't ever think the same about her again. Sai is the first person to see that there is more to her than what she is showing. That's why I'm proud of Nessie. She is doing something for that girl that no one ever has before, Edward sighed. I went back upstairs after that. I just sat there and waited for Edward. He came up a few minutes after I had. I still can't believe that we really found her, I said. Me too, he said. Maybe this year we will finally be happy enough to start celebrating things and having parties again, he said. No, Edward. You already know how I feel about celebrating anything and parties. I just can't do it anymore. Ever since we gave Nessie away, I haven't been in the mood to celebrate anything. I haven't for the past 17 years, and that won't change at all. And don't you dare bring up Christmas either. You know how much I hate that holiday. Okay. It was just a thought, he said. Anyways, I'm going to look for that stupid reindeer now. The whole family was obsessed with that reindeer that somehow had the ability to escape vampires. Then Edward got up and left. I sighed. I shouldn't have snapped at him like that, but he knows how holidays and parties make me feel. Anything that was supposed to make you happy always made me sad now. It made me sad because my own daughter wasn't here to celebrate with me. For me, Christmas was the worst. That is why I have hated the holiday so much for the past 17 years, and that was never going to change. Nessie's paw. Time went by rather quickly. In the following months I got closer and close to Jacob. I really was starting to fall in love with him, and I could only hope that he was falling in love with me. We loved spending time together. It honestly didn't matter what we did, we always had fun because we were together. I honestly think it annoyed the rest of the Cullen family. Speaking of the Cullen family, I've also become rather close to them. It amazed me the strong interest they've had in me since the very beginning. Everybody says they're weird, and maybe they are, but I really liked all of them. Comet says they are not human. He says they've tried to kill him many times, but I think he's just being siy honestly. The Cullens are awesome, and I can't imagine them ever hurting a fly. Lisa and David were now my very best friends outside of the Cullen family. But honestly, they're not very perceptive at all. They both have huge crushes on each other but don't know how to admit. Even though David has a girlfriend, it's Lisa he likes, and every time she shows interest in another boy he gets jealous. Only Lisa doesn't realize that. Just like David doesn't realize that Lisa gets jealous of him being with his girlfriend. I made it one of my missions to help them realize what idiots they are. It's clear they both like each other as more than best friends, and they're meant to be together. Emma. Oh, Emma. I've made some progress with her. At least I've gotten her to be less hostile to me than she was at the beginning. I still haven't unraveled her mysteries. But hopefully soon I will. I had to do it soon. I was set to leave in little over a month now. Next week was already Thanksgiving. So Nessie, are you going to audition for the Christmas concert? Lisa asked me one day at lunch. Dunno. Why are you asking? You've never even heard me sing. I might be terrible, I said. Well, I'm auditioning to be one of the singers. I was kind of hoping that maybe you would audition with me. I think it would be fun if we were in a concert together, she explained. I had been thinking about auditioning. I loved singing Christmas songs. Not only was it fun for me, but it helped me spread the Christmas spirit. Plus, when your father is Santa Claus, you're pretty much guaranteed to be musically gifted when it comes to Christmas songs. I know every Christmas song that exists word by word. Come on, Nessie, Lisa begged. Okay, I'll do it. So I'll see you after school in the gym, I guess. The bell rang after that and I had to go to class. As I was getting to class, one heard Bella calling my name. Nessie, what are you doing after school today? She asked me. I'm going to try out for the Christmas concert. Why? I asked. She made a face that I couldn't quite understand. Carlisle wants to meet him at the hospital after school. By the way, don't even bother auditioning for that concert, she said in a bitter voice. Why not? I asked in confusion. Because it is a stupid holiday, that's why. All you do is give gifts to people for no reason. Santa is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard of. What's the whole point of creating this mythical figure that goes down chimneys? Santa is stupid. Christmas is stupid. Just no. So don't even bother with that concert. I felt like crying after her rant. It made me sad that she hated Christmas so much. It was people like her and PLE like Emma that needed Christmas the most. Now I knew that I had to get her to believe in Christmas. I had to show her that there is a whole lot more to Christmas than gift giving. It's about love, and it's about giving to those in need. So I'll meet you in front of the school right after class. Okay, she said. I sighed. Okay, I said. However, during class, I couldn't help but think about that concert. It was something that I wanted to do badly. I shouldn't say no just because Bella doesn't want me to. So instead of going to the front of the school, I went to the gym. There was already a line of other people waiting to audition. I listened to them and they all sang quite beautifully. As it got close to my turn, I started to feel butterflies in my stomach. I had never auditioned for anything in my life, and it made me a little nervous. Lisa was so nervous that she was biting her nails. She went right before I did. So far I think that she was the best singer. I took a deep breath once it was my turn. As soon as I started singing, I had everybody's attention. No other person who auditioned had this much attention from everyone. The judges ordered me to sing more songs than the others had to sing. As I was starting on the 12 Days of Christmas, Bella came in. She looked absolutely furious with me. I should have probably texted or called her to tell her that I was still going to audition no matter what she said. I kept on singing and tried to ignore her expression as best as I could and failed miserably. But as I kept singing, I noticed her expression beginning to change. Instead, she looked sad. As soon as I was done, I nearly ran off of the stage. "Renesmee," I heard a voice behind me say. I jumped. I turned around and saw who it was. It was one of the judges. "Yes, sir. Renesmee, my name is Mr. Johnson. I'm the main director for the Christmas concert. I just want to tell you that the other judges and I have already made a decision. We want you to be the lead singer in the concert. We never make these decisions this fast, but you young lady have true talent. I have been a judge here for the last 25 years and I have never heard someone who sings as beautifully and angelically as you do." "Well, thank you, sir," I said. "No thank you, Renesmee. Practice will be every day after school starting next week." "Okay. Bella, I'm so sorry," I said once I caught up to her. "Nessie, I told you not to bother with this. I told you not to audition. And I chose to ignore you. Christmas may be stupid to you, but it's not stupid to me. It means much more to me than you'll ever realize," I said. "Nessie, it's just a holiday. It's not important at all. It shouldn't mean so much to anyone. But it does to me, and there is nothing that you can do or say to change that," I said. "By the way, you sing beautifully," she said. "Thank you," was all that I could say. "So where are we going?" I asked. "The hospital. Carlisle wants to talk to you." "I'll give you the address," she said. In the end, the address wasn't necessary. "Who are you here to see?" the lady at the receptionist desk asked. "Dr. Cullen. He wants to speak with us," I said. "Okay, he is in room 209 trying to help a patient. I'll call him and ask if he wants to see you right now." She sent us in a few minutes later. Carlisle was there with a little girl that looked about 4 or 5 years old. For some reason, Carlisle looked frustrated and upset. "Are you okay, Carlisle?" I asked, even though I was sure that he wasn't. "No. It's very rare that I say this about anyone, but I'm really frustrated with that little girl. She was brought in here this morning by someone who works at the orphanage she lives at because the girl was in pain. But the girl won't talk and tell me what's wrong. No matter how many times I've tried explaining that she needs to tell me where she's hurting so that I can help her, she just doesn't talk." I looked at the girl and I realized what the problem was right away. She didn't speak English. I didn't know what she spoke, but I knew that I could help her. I tapped into my magic. Now when I talked to her, my words would translate into whatever language she spoke and her words would be translated into English, but only for me. Whoever else heard us would just hear us talking in whatever language she spoke. I walked up to the side of her. "What is your name?" I said to her. She looked at me full of surprise. "Kimmy," she said. "You understand me?" she asked me. "Yes," I said. "You're the first one," she said. "What's wrong?" I asked. "I'm scared," she said. "It's okay. Why are you scared?" I asked her. "I don't know where I'm at or why I'm here. I'm really scared and really confused. Also, my head really hurts." "You're in a hospital. Don't worry. They are doctors and they just want to help you feel better," I explained. "Really?" she asked. "Really," I said. The young girl then sat up and threw her arms around me. She then started crying. "You're the first person I've talked to since my family left me at that place in the middle of the night. Ever since then I've just been really scared and confused because I can't understand anybody and they can't understand me," she said. I gave her a kiss and wiped her tears away. "What's your name?" she asked me. "Renesmee," I said. She giggled. That's a weird name, she said. You can call me Nessie, I said. She giggled again. Nessie, will you be my new friend? She asked. Of course, Kimmy, I said. I couldn't say no to her. And I promise that I'll visit you as often as I can. She smiled. Ouch, my head, she said. Poor girl. I looked back at Carlisle and Bella, who were giving me very shocked expressions. How did you do that? Carlisle asked. Do what? I asked. Nessie, you've been speaking Chinese for the last 5 minutes. How did you know that she spoke Chinese? Nobody knew that, not even the orphanage. She hasn't spoken at all there either, Carlisle said. Chinese. So that was the language I was speaking for the last 5 minutes. Carlisle, some things are better left a mystery. She only speaks Chinese, so she'll need a translator. By the way, it's her head that's hurting a lot, I said. I looked at my watch and watched as my magic level dropped quite a bit. This was the second time I've used magic since I've been here. Whatever happens, I could not let it drop to 0. Nessie's paw. They continued to stare at me full of shock. I could almost see the questions that were going through their minds. I intrigued them as much as they intrigued me. I was the one that broke the silence. So Carlisle, Bella said that you wanted to talk to me. Yes, I did. I'm just going to run some tests on this girl. Her name is Kimmy, I said. I realized that I neglected to mention the name of the girl. Okay, I need to run some tests on Kimmy now that I know what's bothering her. Thanks, TD, for telling me about the translator, he said. Sure, no problem, I said. Nothing pleased me more than to help people. That poor girl really did need help. I hoped that now that Carlisle knew what was wrong with her that he would be able to help her. I looked at Bella and tried to decipher what she was thinking about. But I couldn't figure out anything. Her face was pretty much expressionless. Bella, what are you thinking about? I said. Emily blurted out without really thinking about it. She looked surprised. It was a full 30 seconds before she answered. You actually, she said. Me? I shouldn't be so surprised. After what I just did in the hospital room, it would be hard to think of much else. But I couldn't help but wonder what it was about me that she was thinking about. What about me? I asked. She smiled at me before answering. I'm just really curious about you. You're a really interesting girl. So are you, I said. Nessie, I know that we've known each other for only a few months, but I already love you like a sister, she said. I smiled happily because I felt the same way about her. I feel the same way about you, Bella. Bella didn't say anything when she hugged me. I felt this connection to Bella that I could not explain. It made me feel close to her, and as time continued to go by I started to feel closer and closer to her. Thank you, she said. You have no idea how much that means to me. After that, Carlisle appeared and we could not talk anymore. Nessie, would you like to come over to our house for a while? I think it's best that we talk there, he said. Sure, okay, I said. What could he possibly say to me that couldn't be said here at the hospital? It made me all the more curious about whatever it was that he had to say. Just let me call my brother and make sure that it is okay with him first, I said. Okay, he said. I called Charlie and he allowed me to stay for a maximum of 2 hours. From the house I drove to his hospital. I wished that I knew earlier that Carlisle was going to choose to talk to me at his house. It would have saved me the time of going to the hospital. But then when I remembered the little girl that I had helped, I was instantly happy that I had gone to the hospital. It wasn't a waste of time. So what was it that you wanted to talk about? I asked as soon as we got into the house. I also noticed that the rest of the family was there as well. We just wanted to ask you how you would feel if you found your biological family. Bella was the one to ask. Whoa, I didn't know what to expect, but it sure as hell wasn't that. I don't know, I answered. I would be happy to meet my biological family. But I would also have a lot of questions. I would want to know why they gave me up in the first place. But would you want anything to do with your real family? Edward asked this time. Yes, I would. Why are you asking? I asked in complete confusion. Well, we think we know who your biological family is, but we can't say anything until we know for certain. We're just curious if you're open to meeting them or not, Carlisle said. I would definitely want to know my biological family, I said. Why did you make me come over here for this question? Just in case you wanted to keep this private, Esme said. We were only thinking of you. Well, thank you, I said. Hey, I also wanted to ask you about this idea that I have had in my mind for a while now, I said. I had this idea in my mind for a while now, but I hadn't voiced it out loud to anyone yet. Sure, what is it? Carlyle asked. Well, it's about Christmas. I was thinking about having a Christmas party for the kids at the orphanage in a few weeks. I was wondering what you all thought of that idea, I said. I think that is a wonderful idea, Esme said, and everyone else, except Bella, seemed to agree. That's a great idea. There has never been a party or a celebration of any sort at the orphanage. I'm sure those kids could use a little bit of happiness, Carlyle said. That made me happy to hear because I really wanted to do something for those kids, especially Emma. Emma still hasn't really opened up to me. I plan on changing that soon. I was going to help her start healing before I left. If I was lucky, the others in the Christmas concert would be willing to perform as well. That's a terrible idea, Bella said. Christmas isn't worth celebrating, and the sooner those kids learn that, the better. It's never a bad idea to bring happiness to others, Bella, I said. I'm leaving because I can't stand to hear about Christmas anymore, Bella said as she stormed out. Esme sighed. You'll have to forgive her. She really doesn't like Christmas. It was circumstances in her life that made her this way. I'm going to go after her, Edward sighed as he followed her out. I think that we should all go after her, Carlyle said. Yes, maybe we should, Esme said. Nessie, you stay here. We'll be back soon. As I sat there waiting, I began to get sad over Bella. What could have possibly made her dislike Christmas so much? Then I had an idea. I had to help her get into the Christmas spirit. I had to help her realize that Christmas is not a stupid holiday. I used some more of my magic to decorate the house. Suddenly there was a large Christmas tree by the fireplace. There were Christmas decorations everywhere that you looked. There were stockings hung over the fireplace. There were decorations all over the house. These were all decorations that they had stored somewhere in the house. So it wouldn't seem so out of the ordinary when I told them that I found their decorations and decided to help them decorate. What is this? Bella screamed and scared the crap out of me. I looked and saw that she had returned all by herself. I decorated the house for you all. I just take them all down now. I can't believe that you would do this. You know how I feel about the holiday. And yet you keep trying to shove it down my throat. Don't you understand? Just because you are so obsessed with this holiday doesn't mean that we all are. It's a dumb holiday and I will never love this holiday. I ran out of the house crying. My entire body was shaking with tears. I never thought that she would ever get that upset with me. The tears started to cloud my vision as I ran through the forest. Eventually I tripped over a branch and just laid there and started crying. I cried and cried and cried. I stayed there for a long time before I heard someone else approaching. I looked up and saw that it was Bella. She looked sad and heartbroken now. There you are, Nessie. We've been looking all for you. I didn't even say anything to her. You've been missing for nearly 2 hours. We were all very worried about you. Especially me. Wasn't she still mad at me? How could she be worried about me if she was mad at me? Aren't you mad at me? I asked. She sighed. Then she hugged me. Nessie, I am really sorry for what I did. I was wrong and I should have never done or said what I did. I didn't mean any of it. I was wrong and I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have treated you that way. You have no idea how terrible I feel, she said as she started to sob. Why do you hate Christmas so much? I asked. It was a long time before she answered. The story starts a long time ago. I once had a beautiful baby girl. But I had to give her up for adoption. It was the hardest thing that I have ever done in my life. When Christmas comes around I always get really depressed because my daughter isn't here to celebrate it with me. So everything about Christmas reminds me of her and it makes me sad and angry. All I have ever wanted is to spend Christmas with my daughter, she said. That was really heartbreaking to hear. All she wanted was to spend time with her baby girl. How old was that baby girl? Judging by Bella's age, she couldn't have been older than 3 or maybe 4 years old. How old would she be? I asked. She took a deep breath before answering. She would be 17 years old. Nessie, I can't keep this a secret anymore. You were that baby girl. Nessie's paw. I could not understand what she was trying to tell me. She could not be my mother. For goodness sakes, we were the same age. This had to be some kind of joke she was playing on me. You're kidding, right? I said. She had to be kidding. There was no way that it was logically possible for her to be my mother. It was impossible. There was just no way in hell that she could be my mother. Nessie, I'm not joking. I know it's hard to believe, but there is no way that you could be my mother. I mean, we're the same age. It's just not possible. This was really beginning to bother me. She was playing with me and I didn't like it at all. I wanted her to stop, and I wanted her to stop right now. Nessie, just please let me explain, she begged. She looked desperate to explain things to me. Maybe I should listen to her. What if it was true? I'm the adopted daughter of a man that uses 8 flying reindeer to visit all the good boys and girls of the world in one night. I use magic to accomplish things that are impossible for everyone else. I really am the last person that should be the judge on what's logical and what's not. Yeah, I really was the last one to judge on this topic. It wasn't fair for me to do this to her. I really should just listen to her. Nessie, she pleaded. The look in her eyes was desperate. Okay, I sighed. I'll listen. I waited to hear what she had to say. I had you 17 years ago when I was only 18 years old. I had a few complications when I went into labor. Your father had to save me. I still don't understand. In fact, I now had a million more questions than before. The thing is, your father and I, actually all of us, were vampires. I was human when I had you. I almost died when I gave birth to you, and the only way to save me was for your father to transform me. Hold on. Do you really expect me to believe that you are all vampires? Nessie, I know that this is hard to believe, but it's true, she said. I took a deep breath as I processed all of this new information. As absurd as this all seemed, I believed her. If Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, Father Time, Cupid, Mother Nature, Sandman and Jack Frost all existed, then who's to say that other mythical creatures don't exist? Nessie, do you believe me? She asked. Yes, I do. Really? She said in complete surprise. I thought it would take a lot longer than this to prove it to you. Is there any other surprises that I should know about? I asked. Yes, it's about Jacob. He's a shapeshifter. He can turn into a giant wolf. He was planning on telling you soon, but he didn't know how. So I might as well make it easy for him, she explained. Whoa, T.S. was way too much information for me to take in at one time. Well, I do believe you was all I could think to say. I didn't know quite how to explain why I believed her so quickly. I was tempted to tell her the truth about myself. But I couldn't do that because of the SOS, secret of Santa. I was sworn to secrecy and I couldn't say anything to her, no matter how badly I wanted to. Revealing the truth could ruin Christmas forever. Okay, well, we should get back home now, she said. Wait, I said before she could even move an inch. If my father is a vampire and you were a human, does that make me half vampire? I asked. Not exactly, she said. What do you mean? I asked in confusion. I mean that the vampire genes seem to have skipped you for some reason. You were born completely human. That's why your father and I gave you up for adoption. You were human and we felt that you deserved to live a normal human life. That's all that we wanted for you. To have a normal life, and we knew that you would never be able to have that with us. I wanted to laugh so badly. Normal life. Well, that turned out so well, insert sarcasm. If only she knew exactly the kind of life that I have lived for the past 17 years. I wonder what she would think if she knew about my real life and not the fake one I presented to the rest of the world. Then another question popped into my mind. One that I needed an answer to now that I knew the truth. If not, I wouldn't be able to live in peace. Who is my father? I asked. Then when I thought about it, and I mean really thought about it, I realized that I had a lot of similar features to Edward. These similarities had not gone unnoticed by me, but I never really thought anything of it until now. It's Edward, she said. Suspicion confirmed. Bella, I really should go home now. Why brother is going to worry about me if I don't get home soon. I can't believe that you got adopted by the Calvins. Of all people, she said. What is wrong with them? I asked. Well, you see, your father also has the ability to read minds. Some vampires have extra abilities and he is one of them. It seems your brother and sister have this illusion that your father is Santa Claus, she said. What? That's crazy. Absurd. I mean really absurd. Who would believe a crazy thing like that? I said way too fast. I started to laugh awkwardly. I just hoped that I didn't make her suspicious of me. Well, it appears that they believe a crazy thing like that. Nessie, please promise me that you'll be careful with them, she said. Okay, I'll be careful, I said. Oh, and one more thing, she said. Sure. What is it? I asked. Don't tell anyone about this. I mean us. Nobody could find out that vampires or shapeshifters exist, okay? She said. Okay, I said. It's an established fact that I am very good at keeping secrets. What's one more? After that, Bella, well, Mom, I should say, took me back to her house to the rest of the Cullens. She told them everything that had happened. Just like her, they were surprised with the ease that I had believed her. After that, they took me back to my house, where I got a huge lecture from Charlie and Lucy. They had only given me permission to stay out for 2 hours. I had been out for 5 hours total. Needless to say that they were all pretty mad at me. Once they had calmed down enough, I told them about my new plans of having a Christmas party at the orphanage. They actually loved the idea and they supported it. I told David and Lisa about my idea of having a party at the orphanage and even they seemed to love the idea. They were more than willing to have a fundraiser and to try and raise money for the organization. Turns out that they were very good at planning things. It took them just a matter of days to plan a fundraising event. There was just one problem. I didn't raise enough money to buy them a lot of presents. We barely made enough money to cover the expenses of decorations and food. Entertainment was taken care of. I managed to convince the rest of my friends that were in the Christmas concert to participate in this as well. There was only one person that didn't know about this event. Emma. She still didn't know that I knew she lived at the orphanage. The very orphanage that we were having the party at. I didn't want her to know until December 15th. The very date that the party was happening. I wanted to surprise her. Jacob was also coming to the party as well. He wanted to be my date to the party. I thought it was really sweet of him to want to accompany me to the party. I also managed to convince the Cullens to come as well. That was a feat that was a lot harder to accomplish. Mostly because Bella still wasn't really in the mood to celebrate Christmas. She just didn't have the Christmas spirit in her. She still didn't think that Christmas was a big deal. I think she was just sad because she knew that I wasn't going to be here to celebrate the holiday with her, yet again. It made me really sad. All I wanted to do was make her happy. But I knew that I couldn't give her that. If I got the job as the next Santa Claus, I wasn't going to be able to spend the holiday with her. The day finally arrived. The director of the ORPHANAGE managed to get all of the kids out of the building. We wanted to see all of the looks of happiness and surprise on their faces when they walked through the door and saw everything that we had done for them. The looks on their faces really was priceless. They all got so excited and happy that it actually brought tears to my eyes. They all look so happy, Jacob said. They sure do, I agreed. It made me smile. I heard a sharp intake of breath before someone said Nessie. I looked up and saw Emma there. She was crying. She started to cry. For once in her life, the hard face that she put on for everyone had fallen off. She looked so sad and vulnerable. It was heartbreaking. She dropped the stuff that she was carrying and ran off. I felt compelled to go after her. I knew something like this could happen and I was ready for it. Jacob, I'll be back, I said as I started to make my way over there. Yeah, okay, Jacob said. Just don't be too long. Emma, I said. I didn't get an answer. I was walked for a while until I heard someone crying. I followed the sound of the crying until I reached a room. I opened the door and saw her holding a knife up to her arm. Emma, don't, I shouted. She dropped the knife in surprise when she saw that I was there. What are you doing here? She asked. I came looking for you. What's wrong? I asked. You found out. You weren't supposed to find out. Nobody was supposed to find out, she said. Find out what? That you live here. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care about where you live, I said truthfully. Of course you do. You'll just laugh at me. Like the other kids used to, she said. Why would I laugh at you? I asked her confusedly. When I was younger, people used to laugh at me when they found out where I lived and that I had no family. That's why I never tell anyone where I live, she said. Her story was already making me sad. I felt like crying, but I had to keep her talking. I had to help her. Why do you cut? I asked. How did you know about that? She asked me. Number 1. You just had a knife raised to your arm. Number 2. I've seen some of your self-inflicted injuries over the past few months. I'm not blind, I said. You're the first person to ever notice them, she said. She took a very deep breath before starting her story. When I was little, my mother died. I was left to be raised by my father, but he was cruel. He used to beat me up really badly all the time. For years he beat me. He used to call me fat, ugly, useless, and stupid. Eventually, when I was 9 years old, somebody found out about what was happening. I was removed from my home and taken to an orphanage. But I never got adopted. That's why I bully. That is why I cut myself. I also have issues with anorexia, and I have also thought about suicide a few times because of this. It's all to cover up the pain that I feel. It erases the pain, she explained to me. I didn't say anything. Instead, I hugged her close to me as she cried. I fought the urge to cry myself. Her story was so sad and heartbreaking. We stayed like that for a really long time. I was sure that my absence had been noticed by now. It's okay, I said. You can always count on me to be your best friend. Honestly, you're my only friend. You know me so much more than anybody else, and you don't care that I'm so screwed up, she said. You're not screwed up, I said. You just need some help and little bit of love. That's all, I said. She smiled back at me. Now I think that we should get back to that party. Come on, you could use some Christmas spirit, I said. Okay, she said. There you are, Nessie, Lisa said as soon as I had gotten back to the party area. We've been looking all over for you. Where the hell have you been? She asked. I've been helping out a friend, I said. Well, we need your help over here. The kids all want presents. But we don't have any. What are we going to do? She asked, sounding desperate. Poor kids. They wanted presents and we didn't have any. All because we couldn't raise enough money to include presents for them. I didn't want to break their hearts this way. Then an idea hit me like a ton of bricks. I'll be right back, I said. Now where are you going? She asked, sounding upset. I went into another room where I found a bag. A bag which suddenly filled up with gifts. It looked exactly like my father's bag that he used to deliver presents. I came back to the room full of excited gifts. Listen up, everyone. It's Secret Santa time, I shouted. What do you mean, Secret Santa? We don't have gifts, David said in confusion. He's right. What are you talking about? Lisa said, equally as confused. Even the Cullens were all looking at me in confusion. Just work with me here, I muttered. I pulled out the first gift and read out the name. Isabella Marie Cullen. My mother looked at me with even more confusion, if possible. I gave her the present, and when she opened the box she let out a gasp of surprise. It was a photo album of me throughout the years. Of course, none of them gave away hints of who I really was. But his is the gift that she has always wanted. To see me grow up. Lisa Johnson, I called out as I got the next gift. She walked over to me. It was an old-looking doll. She started crying when she saw it. This can't be, she said. It looks exactly like the doll that my mom gave me when I was little. But I never told anyone about it. I knew that her mother had died when she was young and she still missed her very much. This was indeed the very same doll that her mother had given her. The next thing I pulled out was a squirming golden retriever puppy. She had a bow tied to her collar. There was a gift tag on her collar that read Emma Hander. Before I could even get her full name out, she had run up to me and snatched the puppy from me. How did you know? I mean, I've never told anyone that I wanted a dog. And yet she is the exact type of dog I wanted. A female, golden retriever puppy, she said with tears in her eyes. The dog started licking her and she started laughing. I pulled out the next box. She was a small box that said Rosalie Hale. She came up to me and took the box from my hands. She nearly dropped it when she saw what was inside of it. I believe the note inside said, "It's a girl." Her hand flew to her stomach, which had now grown larger than it was a few seconds ago. She stared at me in complete and utter confusion. But that was what she has always wanted. Those were the presents I had created. The very present that each and every one of them has always wanted. "Come on up and get the rest of your presents," I said, and everyone stampeded to the bag. I looked at my watch and watched in horror as my magic levels dropped to 0. What I just did took up so much magic that it had completely drained me, and now I was down to 0 magic. Why meant that I could not return to the North Pole. Nessie's paw. "You did what?" Charlie screamed at me the moment that I told him what I had done. "I just wanted to make Christmas special for them," I attempted to explain. "I'm not sure how well that we nt over, considering he is angrier than a pack of raging bulls right now. You used up all of your magic," he screamed. "Which means that you can't go back to the North Pole." He continued to scream as if I didn't already know that. But I just wanted to make them all happy. I wanted to bring some Christmas spirit into their lives. I even made a woman several months preg. I covered my mouth when I realized what I had just accidentally admitted. Saying that I made a woman several months pregnant was probably not in my best interest right now. "You made a woman pregnant?" Charlie was now several different shades of red right now. I gulped. "It's what she has always wanted and she can't have kids, so you decided to just make her several months pregnant. Don't you think that just might make her a little bit suspicious of you?" he shouted. "I had really thought about that," I said. "I can see that. You just threw caution to the wind here. I can't believe you made an infertile woman pregnant," he screamed. "A woman who is part of a species that is even biologically capable of carrying children." I added in my head, but decided to keep that bit of information to myself. That was a conversation that I was not about to have. "Nessie, you need to get out of here," Charlie said. "You're kicking me out?" I asked. "No." "Well, yes. But only because they are going to know that there is something different about you and they are going to be highly suspicious of you." "But where am I supposed to go?" "I can't go back to the North Pole," I reminded him. "I suggest that you try taking Comet. Hopefully you'll still be able to go back, but I don't know. Honestly, that is your best shot, and I'd leave right now if I were you," he said. I sighed heavily. He was probably right. I didn't want to leave though. There was so many things that I still wanted to do. The concert, help people, spend time with my biological family, and of course get married. I was in love with Jacob and I wanted him to marry me. He was the one that I wanted by my side when I became the next Santa Claus, but it looked like that wasn't even going to happen. I went to my room and started to pack up my stuff. I packed everything with a heavy heart. Was not quite ready to leave just yet. Far from it, actually. There was still so much that I had not done yet, and now I would probably never get to do it. It made me sad and I started to cry. After saying bye to both Charlie and Lucy, I left. I decided that it would be better just to walk instead of driving, even though it would take me a lot longer. I didn't want my car to attract any attention, especially once I was outside the city. As I was walking, I debated whether or not should I stop at my friends' houses and the Cullens' house to say goodbye to them, but I decided that that was probably not a good idea right now. You see, after the Secret Santa everyone was happy, but what I had done had also raised a lot of questions. I avoided Rosalie Hale to the best of my ability. Becca. I knew that she would have a hell of a lot of questions for me. So as much as I wanted to say goodbye to everyone, it really would be a terrible idea right now. So instead I walked right past the Cullen household and just hoped that they didn't see, hear, or smell me nearby. I had to leave without their notice. I wondered if my absence would cause them any suspicion. Yeah, actually it probably would. But it was better if they suspected me when I was far, far away from them. That way they would never know for sure. I walked through the dark forest for some time with one sign of Comet. Where could he possibly be? I thought about calling out his name but decided against it. I decided against it in case the Cullens could hear me. Their super strong senses could be really inconvenient some times, and right now really was one of those times. I was just glad that my dad's extra ability to read minds didn't work against me. I really was one lucky girl. Nessie, I heard a voice behind me say. I jumped about a mile in the air. But thank goodness it was only Comet. What are you doing here? He asked me. We have to go back home tonight, I said. Tonight? But isn't it still early? He asked. Yes, but I did something that is going to make everyone suspicious of me and I have to leave now, I said. Well, we better hurry up. The Cullens are trying to catch me again tonight. They really just don't give up. Now you tell me, I shouted at him. We need to get the hell out of her now. Then to my horror I heard someone shout, Nessie, what are you going? Get away from that thing, he's dangerous. I looked over my shoulder and saw that it was my mother. I quickly jumped on Comet's back with my very small bag of stuff that I had packed. Go, 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 I urged him. He started to run beneath me. Nessie, I heard my mom scream frantically. I heard beginning to pursue me. I also heard the others as well. I pushed Comet into a faster and faster pace. I needed to get away from them before I began flying. Nessie, jump. I heard Carlyle scream nearby. Judging by the sound of his voice I would have to say that he was very close by. Comet jumped when Emmett attempted to grab onto him. Stupid reindeer, Emmett said. Comet barely managed to avoid being jumped on by my mother when he suddenly veered left. Only for my father to force him to turn in another direction when he attempted to grab him. For a while he kept on running until he was suddenly blocked by Alice and Jasper. Both of them were urging me to jump. Apparently they all thought that I was in danger because of Comet. They all kept forcing Comet to suddenly turn in different directions. Then it happened. I reached a cliff. They had all blocked my possible routes of escape too. Now there was only one way that I could escape. I charged straight toward the edge of the cliff. Nessie, my mother screamed frantically when she saw where we were going. She lunged straight for Comet just as he jumped. She collided with him just as he jumped. I was knocked of him, but I managed to stop myself from falling by grabbing onto one of his antlers. What made matters worse was that he were now headed downwards in a spiral thanks to my mother colliding with him. Comet was struggling to regain his balance because of me pulling him downwards to the side while I hung off of him. I finally managed to pull myself up and swing my leg over his body and get myself properly seated again. He finally managed to regain control and I yanked on his reins to pull him upward. He galloped higher and higher into the sky. I never ever want to go through that again, I said. I agree, Comet said. We turned back around. I quickly glimpsed the very stunned face of each and every member of the Cullen family as we flew right over them and into the night sky. Nessie's paw. I flew higher and higher until I knew for sure that I was above the clouds. Well, what a rush that was. Not that I'd dream of ever going through that again. I wondered what the Cullens thought of me now. Surely, they must be wondering what the hell is going on, or something along those lines. I desperately wanted to tell them the truth. They were my family. Families don't keep secrets from each other. Hay told me their secret and I wanted to tell them mine. Well, my secret is pretty much out anyway, but I wanted a chance to explain my story to them. Then another thought occurred to me. How is my father going to take this? First I use up all of my magic and then I accidentally reveal the secret. I was nervous about facing my father. I listened to Comet's gallop in order to help myself relax. For some reason the sound of a reindeer galloping always had a soothing effect on me. I continued to follow the North Star. That was the way to the North Pole. I wondered what was going to happen. Would I be allowed back in after using up all of my magic? Is there any way that I could still be allowed back in? Or had I really screwed myself here? I really hope the last question isn't true. I had to be able to get back in. I just had to. Once it started snowing, I knew for sure that I was getting closer to home. I was able to easily land. I waited and waited for a sign that I would be allowed back into the pole. Finally the groan lowered and we made our descent to the world beneath us. I was greeted to the sight of my father standing there waiting for me. "Dad," I screamed happily as I ran up to him. "Nessie," he said equally as happy. I ran up to him and hugged him. "Dad, I was scared that I wouldn't be able to get back in. Nessie, after everything that you have done, there was no way that I was going to leave you stranded out there. I have been watching you and I couldn't be more prouder of you than I am right now. I do believe that you are going to be the next Santa Claus." "But Dad, I didn't get married. I didn't even get engaged," I pointed out. "Nessie, I have to tell you something. The trip was about more than just finding a husband." "Really? Then what was it also about?" I asked curiously. "It was also about seeing what you would do to help others while you were there. I always knew that you were a good girl with a kind heart. Everything you have done has shown me that you would be a great Santa Claus." "What about my brother?" I asked. "Your brother has also done a lot to help others in New York, but he is nowhere near getting married. All of his first dates have been complete failures. While you, on the other hand, you're madly in love with Jacob as he is with you. Plus I happen to know that he is, or rather was planning on proposing to you on Christmas Eve." "He was?" I said in complete and utter shock. "Yes, he was." My father just smiled at me. "And I just left him," I lamented sadly. "He was going to propose to me and I just left without any sort of explanation." Well, maybe the Cullens would say something to him about what happened. Maybe he would understand. That is if he believed them in the first place, and that is also if they even said anything to him. "Dad, what am I going to do?" I asked. I could already feel the tears threatening to fall out of my eyes. "You are going to go back," he said. "I am," I asked in shock and confusion. I didn't think that going back was ever going to be an option for me. "Yes, you are going to go back. You've made promises that you need to keep. You still have that concert coming up and you are still working with Emma, aren't you? That is why you are going back, and this time I'm going with you." "What? Why?" I shouted hysterically. "Because after everything that happened, your biological family deserves an explanation." "Wait, you knew that my biological family was there?" I asked. "Yes, I did. That was the reason I sent you to Chicago instead of your brother. I wanted you to meet your family, and I know that they have been wanting to meet you for a really long time. I also know what they are, and I feel that they should know who I am." "Okay," I said. "And I also want to talk to Charlie about the way that he kicked you out like that," he said. "Okay," I said again. After the conversation ended, my father went to pack up his stuff for the trip to Chicago, and I went to pack some stuff of my own. This time we were going to be taking the sleigh. I helped Ed, my father, load the sleigh once we were done packing. We had decided to leave in the morning since I was still tired from the trip today. My mother insisted on spending the rest of the evening with me since we had not seen each other in months. It was nice to be reunited with my mother again. Actually, it was nice to be reunited with both of my parents. I went back to my room and was surprised at it was pretty much the same way I had left it months ago. I must have been really tired because I woke up without any recollection of falling asleep. My father was already waiting for me by the sleigh by the time that I was done eating breakfast. "This time you are going to drive the sleigh," he said. "I am," I said. "Yes, you are. You might as well get used to it if you're going to take over my job," he said. "Okay," I said, still a little unsure about this. "Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen." I yelled out each and every single reindeer's name the way my father usually did. I pulled on the reins as the reindeer all began to take off. I couldn't believe that I was driving the sleigh. This was the first time that I had ever driven the sleigh. It was really exciting to say the least. It was definitely a lot faster than just riding one reindeer to get anywhere. This was so awesome. Once I knew we were close to Chicago, I began to make the descent. It was already dark by the time that we had gotten close to Chicago. I could see the Cullen house coming up fast. I was able to land on the roof without any effort. "Now what?" I asked. "Now you go down the chimney," he said, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Which I guess it kind of was. But how do I do that without killing myself? I asked. "Don't worry about that, Nessie. With a little bit of Christmas magic you do just about anything, and I will be right behind you," he said. "Okay," I said. I got out of the sleigh and walked over to the chimney. I jumped down legs first. I was surprised when the chimney expanded in order to accommodate my body. The first thing I saw when my feet touched the ground was all of the Cullens, including Jacob, staring at me open-mouthed. What shocked me even more was the fact that Emma, Lisa and David were also here as well. That I was not expecting at all. I heard my father come down the chimney as well. "I have a lot of explaining to do," was the only thing that I could think to say. Nessie's paw. They were all too stunned to say anything as my father followed me out of the fireplace. I fought the urge to laugh at the expressions on their faces. It was way too funny. "Nessie, what is going on here?" Emma asked. "It's a really long story. So instead of just telling you, I'm going to show you. Go outside and look at the roof." With that said, they all, including the Cullens, went outside. They all gasped in shock when they saw 8 reindeer pulling a sleigh just standing on the roof. "What? Reindeer? How?" Lisa was the one to ask. "I don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to come out and say it. My father is Santa Claus," I said in a very blunt manner. There was just no way that I could hide the truth. "We figured it out after what happened the other night," Mom said. "But we are still trying to process the information. So I guess you guys were all telling the truth," Jacob said. "We told you so," Jacob Edward Said. "Well, I guess it would be a little hard to believe," I said. "That is one of the many reasons that I hadn't said anything. There is also something called the secret of Santa, or SOS for short. If everybody knew the truth about Swan, then all of the magic would be gone and Christmas would be destroyed forever." "Everything she is saying is true," my father said. "We adopted her when she was just a baby. We wanted another baby, but my wife didn't want to go through pregnancy again, so we decided to adopt. So we chose her," he said. "Do you have magical powers too, Nessie?" Carlisle asked me. His voice was full of curiosity. "Actually, yes. Christmas magic gives me all of the same powers that my father has. But my magic is much more limited out here. My father gave me this watch here." I showed them all the watch that measured just how much magic I had left, which was sadly still at 0. "This watch measures how much magic I have left. I wasn't supposed to let it get to 0 because that meant that I wouldn't have been able to return to the North Pole. Unfortunately I did, though," I said. I could clearly see that they all wanted to know everything that happened, so I decided to tell them. "It started when I got here actually. I used the magic to create my car and my driver's license. But that was the only time that I used it on myself. The second time was at the hospital. I was with Carlisle and Bella at the time. And that is when you suddenly started speaking Chinese to that little girl," Carlisle said. "Precisely. I had a gut feeling that the only reason she wasn't talking was because she didn't speak a word of English, so I used a little magic to help me out there. The third time I used magic is when I decorated the Cullen house. It happened that very same day as the hospital incident. I saw the look of sadness appear on my her's face as she remembered the events that happened afterwards. That was the day that she got really angry at me. I believe her exact words were, 'Take them all down now. I can't believe that you would do this. You know how I feel about the holiday and yet you keep trying to shove it down my throat. Don't you understand? Just because you are so obsessed with this holiday doesn't mean that we all are. It's a dumb holiday and I will never love this holiday. I think now she is really beginning to realize why Christmas meant so much to me. I think she realized just how much her words and hatred towards Christmas really affected me. I decided just to continue on with my story. The fourth and last event was the Secret Santa event at the orphanage. I think it was the fact that A. I created Emma's puppy and B. I created Rosalie's unborn baby that really just zapped away all of my Christmas magic, I explained. But Nessie Lisa began. Why did you leave? We were all so worried about you. We couldn't find you anywhere and Charlie wouldn't say what happened to you. That's why we came here. We thought that maybe the Cullens would know something. I'm sorry to have caused such worry. After the party, Charlie thought it would be best if I left. He thought that I was running a high risk of exposure, so he thought it would be best if I left town. But it was leaving town that got me exposed. The Cullens here saw when I left on Comet, I explained. So what made you come back? Esme asked. I had some obligations here that I had to do still. For the Christmas concert, I also wanted to help Emma. Oh, and I had also made it a mission to get Lisa and David here to realize that they are in love with each other. What? They both shouted at the same time. You both have been secretly in love with each other for a long time. But none of you realized it. So I thought I'd help. Nessie, there is just one other thing, Jacob said. Which is, I urged him to continue. Why did you come here in the first place? He asked me. Right, it was inevitable that I would have to tell them that as well. You see, my dad wants to retire from his job as Santa Claus. But he wasn't sure if the job should go to me or my brother. So he set up a competition for us. It was a competition that required us to leave home. So my dad sent me here and my brother to New York City, I explained. What was the competition? Jacob asked. Damned, he just had to be the one to ask that. Whichever one of us got married first by Christmas Eve would take over. What? My father, Edward, screamed so loud it almost seemed like the forest shook. Nessie's paw. What? My father screamed again. Maybe talking about my competition right in front of him was not a good idea at all. What do you mean that you have to get married by Christmas Eve in order to be the next Santa Claus? Dad, please calm. Do not tell me to calm down, young lady. How am I supposed to be calm when I just found out that the reason you came here is to find a husband? I'm confused, Emma said. So am I, said Lisa. That makes three of us, David said. How are you her father? You can't be much older than us. My father actually stayed quiet for a few seconds before responding. That is not important right now. Yes, it's true. I am her father. That's all that I can say about that. As for how, that's a conversation for later. What I want to know is why you have to get married, just take over your father's job as Santa Claus. It's an old rule, my father, Santa replied. There is an old rule that says that only a married person can be Santa Claus. Even if she were to take over as Santa without getting married, she would have to get married eventually. I learned that the hard way when I almost lost my job as Santa 7 years after I had taken over. I don't like this, my father shouted. I do not like this at all. She is only 17 years old, for goodness sakes. My father continued to scream. Wait, Jacob said. So that was the only reason you dated me? You were just looking for a husband? Jacob questioned. You didn't love me at all. You were just using me. Jacob looked truly heartbroken. He really did. It broke my heart to see him that way. It's true that the reason that I see me here in the first place was to find a husband. But my love for him was not a lie. I really did love him and I really did want to be with him. He was my soulmate. I had no doubt that he was the person that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. There would never be any other man that I wanted but him. Before I could say anything, he ran off. He was clearly hurt by what he thought was a betrayal. I had to after him. I had to tell him the truth about how I felt about him. Without even thinking about it, I took off after him. At some point during the journey, his footprints had turned into paw prints, which told me that he had phased. I continued to follow the direction that his paw prints had led. I screamed out his name over and over again. I didn't want things to end this way. I had to find him. I finally saw a huge form ahead of me. It was walking closer and closer to me. It was most definitely Wolf Jacob. I also walked toward him. I could tell by the expression on his face that he was still heartbroken. I threw my arms around his neck and hugged him tightly. Jacob, don't ever just leave like that again. I care about you and I love you. Don't ever leave me like that again, I told him in a stern voice. He walked backward a few steps. There were tears rolling down his face. I tried to wipe them away as best as I could. Then I kissed his huge snout. Jacob, I love you. Yes, it's true that I did come here looking for a husband. But what I never expected was to find someone as beautiful and wonderful as you. You're the best guy any girl could ever ask for. You are sweet, kind, caring, loving, beautiful, smart, loyal. And I can't think of any other guy that I would want to spend the rest of my life with, I said. He left after I spilled my heart out to him. I had to tell myself not to go after him because I was hoping that he was just going to go phase and then come back. As I had hoped, he did come back a few minutes later. He came back and then hugged me. I am so sorry, Nessie. I should not have just left you like that. I should have stayed and listened to you, he explained. I love you. I should have known that you are too good of a person to ever hurt someone that way. Will you forgive me? Jacob, there is nothing to forgive, I said to him as seriously as I could. He tensed up for a reason that I could not understand. Jacob, what's wrong? I asked him worriedly. We have to go back, he just said. Why? What's wrong? I asked him again. It's Rosalie. She has just gone into labor. Jacob phased into a wolf again and beckoned me to get on his back. I obeyed without hesitation. Surely this was the fastest way to get back. By the time that we had gotten back, Rosalie was about to have the baby. This baby was coming fast and there was nothing that anyone could do to stop it or to slow it down. Carlyle was already telling her to push. About 5 minutes later, the cries of a newborn baby girl filled the room. She was every bit as pale as other vampires. She also had the gold eyes that all members of my family had. She also had her mother's blonde hair and her exceptionally good looks. But there was also a little bit of Emmett in her as well. She was definitely the most beautiful and unique baby that I had ever seen in my life. The look on both Emmett's and Rosalie's faces were priceless. They finally had the one thing that they had wanted their entire lives. So what are you going to name her? I asked. Her name is going to be Carly Vera Cullen. I smiled when I heard the name. Carly was my middle name. I also knew for a fact that Vera was the name of her best friend back in the 1930s. I felt honored to have a place in her name. It made me feel special. Thank you, Rosalie, I said. And Nessie. Thank you. It's because of you that I have finally gotten what I always wanted. I don't know how we will ever make it up to you, she said. I could not take it anymore. I went up to her and hugged her. I know that you and Emmett will be good parents to her, and that is all the repayment that I will ever need. Thank you, Nessie. She truly is a blessing, Rosalie said. Yes. Thank you, Nessie. Thank you so much, Emmett added before he grabbed me into a bear hug. He looked at his daughter in awe and wonder. Rosalie passed Carly to him. He held his daughter as if she were the most breakable thing in the world. She is so beautiful. I can already tell that I'm going to scare away a lot of guys when she is older, he added. Everyone else just laughed at what he said. From then on, everything went rather smoothly. I participated in the concert. I did everything I could to help out the people around me. Lisa, David and Emmett all became really good friends. They also learned the truth about my family. My vampire family. I was surprised by how well they took that news. I supposed nothing was much of a shock to them anymore. Even Charlie and Lucy took the news well when I told them about the Cullens and my relation to them. Jacob and I got married on December 23rd. It was a small ceremony. We decided that we'd do something bigger after the holidays were over. I didn't care. I was just happy to be married to him. My brother was also very happy for me when he found out that I would be taking over for our father. He did finally succeed in finding a girlfriend, but she had yet to learn the truth about us. Soon it was Christmas Eve and it was time for me to leave. I could not have been happier. For some reason I felt my smile grow when I approached the Cullen house. You know, Nessie, this coming down the chimney thing is going to take some getting used to. My mom said when I walked out of the fireplace. I understand, Mom. I'm not entirely used to it either, I said. So what are you doing here? She asked me. Well, I'm here to deliver. Nessie, what are you doing here? I was surprised to hear the voice of Emma coming from the hallway. I'm here to deliver presents, I said. What are you doing here? I asked her. You mean you don't know? No, I said. Was I missing something? Carlisle and Esme decided to adopt me, she said with a smile on her face. Really? Congratulations, I said excitedly as I went over to her and hugged her. This girl deserved a good home and I knew that my family would be able to give her just that. Thank you, Nessie. Well, I should get going now, I said once I had left presents underneath the Christmas tree. You really have to go? My mom asked sadly. Yeah, Mom, I do. It's my job to deliver presents to kids all around the world now. I have to go. Would you like to go with me? I asked her, much to her surprise. What? Was all that she could say. Would you like to go with me? I want to spend this night with you. I also want to spend tomorrow with you as well. So what do you say? I asked her. She hugged me as tight as she could do so without breaking me. Nessie, nothing would make me happier. The end.